starting with any stations with figure 8 in their call sign, please call now. This is G4 and RC.
Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie, name's Phil. In and out please Greg, but I will listen up to and including church notices.
Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee G8 EEY, name is Mike. Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, name's Bob.
This is G4 and RC. I've got Phil, Golf 8 Kilo Lima Charlie, who's in and out, and Mike, Golf 8 Echo Echo Yankee, and Bob, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, staying with me. Any other 8s, please? G4 and RC, over. Nothing heard, so it's time for the 7. Station's figure 7 in that call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over.
Mike 7, Alpha Victor. Good afternoon, Greg.
G4 and RC, good afternoon, Dave. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, coming in via your hotspot today. Bit of packet loss, Dave. I'll see how that progresses through the rest of the net. Any other 7s, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, not seeing anything from G7 and the H, but I know he's there. Okay, we'll progress without any 6s, please. Station's figure 6 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over.
Mate 7 Golf Mate Whiskey George in Glasgow. I do apologise for currently.
G4 and RC, good afternoon, George. Mike 7 Golf Mike Whiskey. You staying with us, George? The last bit of your over got a bit cut off from G4 and RC, over.
Returning Alston Group, Mate 7 Golf Mate Whiskey.
Mike 7 Golf Mike Whiskey, G4 and RC. Okay, thanks, George. Staying with me. Let's go back to the 6s. Station's figure 6 and their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over. Final call for any station's figure 6 and their call sign, G4 and RC, over. Station's figure 5 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over. Station's figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over. Second call for any stations with figure 4 in their call sign, please go ahead. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, any stations figure 3 in their call sign, please go ahead, over.
Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, in and out. Thank you, Greg.
G4 and RC, good afternoon Ian, Golf 3 Zulu Hotel X-Ray, in and out. Any other threes, please? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, any stations figure 2? Figure 2 in their call sign. That's the intermediate 2's really looking for at this point. Any stations with 2 in their call sign, go ahead. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, second call for any stations with 2 in their call sign. Stations figure 2 in their call sign. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, making sure I've got the bridge. Okay, no 2's. Reminder, I will call for anybody who missed their turn at the end of the number sequence. Stations figure 1 in their call sign for the RAYNET-UK activity period. G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, second call, any stations figure 1 in their call sign for the RAYNET-UK weekly activity period, over. G4 and RC, let's go for stations zeros. Let's have Mike 0 stations. Mike 0 stations, if any regional secondary identifier, please. G4 and RC, over.
M0 JSA.
0 Juliet Victor Zulu, Les from Loughborough.
Zero Whiskey X-Ray Golf. Shirley in Cornwall, in and out. Thank you, Greg.
Mike 0, and Mike, Andy with Shirley, all in and out. Thank you, Greg.
Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, Crew, West Devon, in and out. G4 and RC, okay, I've got Alan, Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha, and Les, Mike 0, Juliet Victor Zulu, staying with me. Good afternoon to Shirley, Mike 0, Whiskey X-Ray Golf, Andy, Mike 0, India Tango Mike, and Drew, Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot Sierra, who were all in and out. Any other Mike 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please? G4 and RC, over. Nothing heard, so let's have Golf 0 stations. Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please. G4 and RC, over.
Golf Whiskey 0 Juliet Lima X-Ray. My name is Andy. RAYNET Pembrokeshire. Good afternoon, Greg. No traffic today, so in and out, please. Over.
G4 and RC, he's got Andy, Golf Whiskey 0, Juliet Lima X-Ray, who is mentioned in dispatches and church notices. Copied you in and out, Andy. Any other Golf 0 stations of any regional secondary identifier, please? G4 and RC, over. Nothing heard, so let's have any UK stations of any number who missed their turn to call in. G4 and RC, over. G798, Golf 7 November, Echo Hotel. This is G4NRC, Graham, Golf 7 November, Echo Hotel, acknowledged. Drew, Mike 0, Mike Foxtrot, Sierra, you were acknowledged last time round. Any other UK strays, please? G4NRC, over. G4NRC, then let's have any international liaison stations, that's Nord Sandband of Norway, Arran and Ireland, Slovakia, etc. Anybody else from IOU Region 1 usually interested in emergency comms, please call now, G4NRC, over. G4NRC, nothing heard, and because Norway told me off, any strays of any country, anybody who's missed their turn to call in and wasn't acknowledged, please call G4NRC, over. Golf 4, Papa Alpha Golf, Golf 4, Papa Alpha Golf, G4NRC, you've blipped twice, you're trying to call into the net, over.
Sorry, my mistake, sorry.
G4NRC, okay, no problems. Right, good afternoon everybody, 13 check-ins then, and a bit down on usual, a bit better than last week. So, usual, excuse me, starts. Should have had a drink before I started this. RAYNET is being live streamed by Graham, G7NEH, to YouTube today. The live stream and recording will be available by searching Golf 7 November Echo Hotel on YouTube. Thanks to Les, Mike 0, Juliet Victor Zulu for covering that control last week. And my apologies that the most newsworthy event of the week was the release of the Ofcom consultation on changes to our amateur licence. A 101-page consultation isn't the easiest thing to get feedback on, so sorry, Les. I will be leading a reef control next weekend, next Sunday, if anyone would like to volunteer. I'll put an email out to the usual offenders later on today, hopefully. 13 groups are shown as having been active this weekend, but possibly the largest event in geographical area covered was the HF NBIS tests undertaken by Zone 8 yesterday, culminating in well over 20 stations from around the country joining the scheduled RAYNET HF team nets at 1400 hours local. And thanks at this point to Andy GW0JLX, who found himself in the best position to control the net, but it was forming in just the same way as an emergency, with stations just calling in rather than being lined up in the way we do on this net with the intro script. Lots learned, but everybody should remember that once a year training really isn't enough to keep skills current in a changing environment like HF. Friedrichshafen last week was as interesting as always. The presentations made to the emergency comms meeting on the Friday will be uploaded to www.iaru-r1.org soon. But the main feature in the hall, as well as the presentations from our viewpoint, was the trailer used by our German colleagues to bring Wi-Fi and VoIP emergency phone networks to a disaster zone. The system weighed over 3 tons and cost about €30,000 to put together, and they're looking for 5 more. Finally, and a little cheaper, Raspberry Pis are coming back into stock. This is useful for those of us looking at the Pi-Star alternative dashboard from Whiskey Zero, Charlie Hotel Papa, which needs a little more horsepower than that provided by a bare Pi Zero, but at least the availabilities of Pis will mean the evolution of DMR can start to progress again. Okay, that's all I've got for the first round. Let's go down the list. Golf 8, Echo Echo Yankee, G4NRC, over.
G4NRC from G8EY. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everybody else. First, I'll start with the weather forecast, or weather situation in Norfolk, which is 22 centigrade, 1008 millibars. 32% relative humidity, and allegedly 1% cloud cover, although I can't see any blue at all, so I don't know where that comes from. 17.6 miles per hour wind from 260 degrees. I suppose when the new license conditions go through, if they go through as is, you'll have to start the call into with the number 9s. That should be interesting. I was hoping to get involved in the NVIS tests on Saturday, but I'm still waiting for a vital item which has yet to arrive. Bit of a shame. Otherwise, yes, I've got together a 4G outdoor router setup, MIMO, for providing internet over a moderate area, shall we say. I'm not range tested it so far, but something that's in the pipeline and might be quite useful. From G8EEY, over.
Echo Yankee, Chief for an RC returning. Okay. I'm not getting my homework marked this week because Trevor's not assisting with the logs. I'm doing it all myself. Okay, shame you weren't involved in the NVIS tests. Propagation yesterday I don't think was the best. 7 megahertz was a bit of a reach for inter-UK stuff, but notable that Surrey RAYNET, who didn't take part in the SSB part of the exercise, were ploughing away as usual on 7 megahertz JS8 call, available for emergency traffic as they are pretty much all year round. So it was good to get so many people on HF, and there are weekly nets on HF for RAYNET for those that want to get involved. Okay, next down to Bob, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC from G8SDU. Good afternoon, Greg. Yeah, the HF tests, I suppose, went reasonably well, considering the variable propagation conditions we were experiencing. And I suffer from a lot of local noise in any case on that particular band. Signals do actually start to come up more strongly towards the end of it than they did at the beginning. So that made it a little bit easier to copy Andy. 4G coverage in Norfolk is terrible. Not reliable. I mean, big pockets where there are holes where you don't even get a signal on 3G, let alone 4G. There you go. That's the nature of the beast of the land, unfortunately. Be interesting to see what happens when they do chop 3G off. And hope they improve the 4G coverage at least. Weather, as Mike said, cloudy. 21 degrees here. Not too bad, I suppose. And the rally was quite interesting, Michael. You missed quite a few bargains. G4NRC from G8SDU.
Eight Sierra Delta Uniform, G4 and RC returning. Okay, yeah, my noise level was strength 5 on average on 7 megahertz yesterday, but there was something. I'm going to start with an electric fence. The noise just went from 5, built up to a 9 as a crescendo, and then disappeared with a blip, and before the system recharged again. So it is interesting looking at the different reports that are coming in. Comments about 4G coverage. Well, the theory was that 3G would be turned off to make way for 4G and 5G coverage, but I did read earlier on in the week that somebody was going to reuse some of the 3G spectrum for a dedicated 5G sort of business service. So need to look into that a bit more as to whether or not we're going to get a 2-tier phone system, which could be challenging. Okay, thanks, Bob. All noted. Next to Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, who highlighted the Pi availability to me from G4 and RC, over. G4NRC. One and Alpha Victor Oscar. Good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everyone on the net. Yes, the pies. I had a couple of emails that came from the Pie Hut, and they have apparently quite a good stock of varying pies available. Raspberry pies, not steak and kidney pies, which I'm quite partial to as well. But yeah, so if people are looking at the Pie Huts down, I think they're Cambridge way, aren't they? I've got quite a good stock again. So and the prices are reasonable off them, and very good prompt service. Yeah, I did have a go at the 40-metre net yesterday, and sadly my 40-metre monster stuck again, and I could hear Andy but very, very faintly in the background, and even Greg, who's literally across the field, as we say. Even locally, I couldn't pick up at all, so I called it a day after about 10 minutes. But back to you, Greg. Mike 7, Alpha Victor Oscar. 7 Alpha Victor Oscar, G4 NRC returning. Yeah, well, as I walked around Friedrichshafen on the Friday before I started my presentations, there was a supplier of Raspberry Pis there who had Picos by an enormous drum of them. There must have been 1,000 there, but big crates at the back showing that other stuff was available, so I bought a Pi 02W before I started doing anything else. It was €20, and I think everybody's recognising the prices have gone up anyway. But it does mean I can try this other dashboard software at some point when I reconfigure some of the Pis here. I also think I was in a bit of a black spot for 40 metres yesterday for a lot of the other stations, which is why I handed over control to Andy very quickly, because his hilltop location and larger antenna was obviously working better. So I'm not sure it's all you, Dave, yesterday. We might just have been in the worst location for all the other stations taking part. We'll see when the rest of the analyses come through. There's a comment I've got about Wi-Fi and networks, but I'll save that for after George. Mike 7, Golf Mike Whiskey, G4 and RC over. Mike 7, Golf Mike Whiskey. Mike 7, Golf Mike Whiskey. Still with us, George? G4 and RC over. G4 and RC, nothing heard. Okay, bye on this one. I'll try again on the next round. Commentary about the terrain, because we've flipped from talking €30,000 worth of Wi-Fi in Germany, and then we're talking HF a lot on this net. The German trailer has just got 5-metre high antenna supports for their Wi-Fi network. I'm on a quiz, how's that going to work with some big hills in the way? They would have to put somebody on a hill to act as a reflector for the mesh to communicate through. But they were quite surprised because they haven't got the experience of our Scottish colleagues doing Wi-Fi networks like FeedNet over the Forth, where the tide coming in and out affected the Wi-Fi path. Because in Germany they've got big hills and not much by way of tidal rivers, so their Wi-Fi systems are more stable than ours and less prone to variations. So there was still some learning, even though it looks like they've got bigger and better toys. Somebody who has played with Wi-Fi recently, down to you, Alan. Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4 and RC.
Yeah, good afternoon, Greg. Good afternoon, everybody. A lovely sunny day here in East Suffolk. And also been a bit cloudy overnight. It's been a nice, pleasant day. I had a 10k run event this morning. That went all very well. I did play with the NVISNet on Saturday. I spent most of Friday building an aerial, a tri-band linked dipole based on Silver Beam's kit and instructions. But I had such a struggle with it, I didn't actually get it finished till about 11:30 on Saturday morning. Did do some quick tests on 7 meg and did make some contacts, including GB0BAL, Berlin Airlift Special Event Station from RAF Cosford. So I was quite pleased with that. I did speak to a couple of RAYNET people, but I couldn't hang around for the afternoon, unfortunately. But the aerial's getting better, and the next time I get a chance, that'll be finished, and I'll be able to try and get on properly. In the morning, I was receiving stuff from South Hampshire, Wales, Cardiff, but that seemed to get worse as the morning progressed. So the conditions definitely dropped off my end. I've got a query on the RAYNET-HF.net website, but I'll do that next time round. And sorry, Greg, I can't help you next week. I'm going to be in Kent on holiday. Back to you, G4NRC, M0JS Group.
Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4NRC. There we go. Everything's just latched up. Okay. Yeah, all the nets are still there every week. I'll take your query about the HF site on the next turn. But at least you did make some contacts. I'm missing my favourite source of information, that the Chiltern Ionoson has got a transmitter fault, of all things, so it can't ping stuff off the ionosphere to tell me in the great detail what's going on. And the information I get from Fairford, RAF Fairford, is not quite as good, and certainly not as easy to copy across onto an email. But looking sort of semi-real time, it was a bit marginal for 7 megs. 5 megs would have been nicer. But can't win them all. Kind of got pushed into declaring a frequency early because of the announcements that were going out in the RAYNET News on Friday. Holidays next week, yeah, understood. I think that's probably what led to Les having less business than usual last week, and our own numbers are down a bit this week. So such is life. This is summer and people are getting back into proper holidays again. Anyway, over to Les with a thanks again for stepping up last week, Les. Mike 0, Juliet Victor Zulu, G4NRC, over.
Mike 0, Juliet Victor Zulu. Yes, hello everybody. Very select few last week. I only had 5, but at least I made a better job of it than I did the first time, so that's not a problem. I can't help next week either because I'm running a special event station, and I'll be every weekend in July, apart from this weekend for some reason. GB0LWM, Loughborough War Memorial. It's the 100th anniversary of the War Memorial in the centre of town. So I've got a special event station for pretty much the whole of July. We'll be working as many frequencies as we can, so we could be basically anywhere. It is my licence, but it's the Loughborough Amateur Radio Club. So that's where I'm going to be next week and the week after, so it won't be me. All okay on the HF. I would like to have more details. Where can I get more details of that? So that's everything from me, and I look forward to speaking to you all in a few weeks' time. I'm 0 JVZ.
Zero Juliet Victor Zulu, G4NRC. Okay, I shall give the details at the top of the list again. and you can acknowledge it on the last pass layers to be sure you've got everything. Okay, finally, probably in the best place, Graham, G7NEH, who can give his views of Friedrichshafen and tell us what the viewership is looking like on YouTube today. G7NEH, G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, G7NEH. Yes, good afternoon, Greg, and good afternoon to all on the net. Let's have a look at the viewership today. We've got 3 currently viewing and 7 views in total, and 1 like. So that's where we're up to today. And yeah, Friedrichshafen last weekend, very enjoyable weekend, lots to see. And I actually come away without buying a thing, which is unusual for me, but there we go. For those of you that want a bit of a look at what it was like at Friedrichshafen, I've put 2 videos on my YouTube channel, G7NEH Ham Radio. So head over, have a look at those, see what you think. Please give us a like if you like them, and feel free to leave a comment. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. There's a few more bits and pieces coming on the channel. So there we go. For those of you watching the YouTube, the live stream, sorry about the shaky start. I had a few audio problems and was a bit late actually getting upstairs to the computer to set things up. I was just playing with a new toy, but more on that again. Okay, not a lot else from me, so back to you, Greg, G4NRC, G7NEH. G7NEH, G4NRC returning. Okay, let's try and wrap up some of the stuff on the list. So, Friedrichshafen videos, anybody who watches Graham's videos, that was what the rally looked like with 11,300 participants across the 3 days. That's a 10% increase on last year. Most events are building back slowly post-COVID. Friedrichshafen, no exception. In its heyday over a decade ago, Friedrichshafen would have 17,000 people present. 14,000 was what they were having pre-COVID. So getting back to 11,000 in the current geopolitical arrangements was not too bad. And I certainly noticed a big increase percentage-wise in people attending the emergency comms session on Friday, which was good. So hopefully more footfall makes more traders, makes more footfall. But everybody is building back slowly. Les asked about the RAYNET HF team nets and details. You can find those on www.raynet-hf, hotelfoxtrot.net. At the top of the page, there's menu items, and there's one that says mailing list. Click on that, and then there's a link in the middle of the page that says click here to subscribe. Yes, I made it 3 clicks, not to annoy Google for taking so many clicks to go to it, but to try and deter the robots that would frequently try and get into the system. And that bit's worked. 3G and 4G we've discussed, and yeah, the Wi-Fi, Graham, I think took some pictures of the Icon stand where their 2.4, 5 gig and 10 gig system was available. I'm not sure how much of that would comply with our EMF rules and the license in this country if it was run at full whack, since you could stick your hands on the antennas. But it's Germany, slightly different. Okay, back to the top of the list and see if I've missed anything that needed feedback. Golf 8, Echo Echo Yankee for final G4NRC, over.
G4NRC from GAEEY. Well, I must admit, although I can run a moderate amount of power with the 4G router, you have a job to put your hands on the antennas, because I can get them up to 9 meters in the mobile setup, which is the logical thing to do with. And I've got high gain antenna as well, so I can search for a 4G station in the hopes that I can find one. and make it available locally, which is the main thing. Otherwise, nothing further to add, just to say 73s and thanks for running the net this week, Greg, from G8EEY. Over.
Eight Echo Echo Yankee, Chief, for an RC. Okay, well, you've still given me something else to talk about. The other thing that I quizzed the Germans about with their mobile Wi-Fi was 5-meter sticks. How well did they guide them to keep the link stable? Again, recalling what was found in Edinburgh with feed nets, where they had slotted vertical antennas, waveguide antennas with vertical slots, since that made it horizontally polarized. But on a good windy day, the rattling of the antenna would make the beam width bounce up and down quite nicely, losing paths. So larger the stick, the more rigging you need to keep it stable, and they did get that message. Okay, thanks, Mike. Next to Bob, Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, G for an RC, over.
G4NRC, G8SDU. Oh, okay, Greg, nothing else to add, so I'll say 7-3s and hopefully catch you next week. G8SDU clear.
Try that again without the drop 8. Golf 8 Sierra Delta Uniform, G for an RC. Okay, Bob. Yes, well, we'll see what happens next Sunday. I won't be here. I won't be in RF range of anything, is probably the best way of putting it. So if we can't find a swap, then there'll be an announcement in the news on Friday saying that it'll just be a random to get together at 4 o'clock rather than a directed net. Fine, thank you for that. Next to Dave, Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar. And the final for you is I won't be around for the West Cheshire Group Net on Friday, on the 5th either, Dave, if you're awake. Same goes for Graham. Since like we've already had a habit of napping at some point during the nets this week, if you could keep an ear out for any West Cheshire members, be appreciated. M7 AVO, G4 and RC, over.
G4 NRC, M7 AVO. Yeah, thanks, Greg. I'll try not to get too comfy in the chair before the net on the 5th, which I think is it'll be Wednesday, won't it? I think. Yeah, got a bit on this week. Very, very busy with the schools. Having a bit of cover staff to do lesson cover, so I've been able to get in there and do some training recently. So this is a bit hectic before the shut down for summer, but yeah, no problem. I'll keep an ear out on the 2-meter net, and hopefully get set up for the 4-meter net for next time round. We've had a nice little compact 4-meter antenna at Moonraker, and was talking to Grail about it on the phone the other day, and I think tomorrow I shall order one, and we'll try and get it put up on the pole, ready for the 4-meter net in the very near future. But the other quick one, Greg, is I've noticed I did try to come in through the Fusion gateway originally, and it seems to be down again. It wasn't working last week either, so whether Guy is about and can cast his magic fingers over it, but I'm not sure what it's our end or their end, but just to pass it on. But yeah, no problem. We'll definitely keep an eye open for the 2-meter net. Back to you, Greg. Mike 7 Alpha Victor Oscar.
Seven Alpha Victor Oscar, G for an RC. Okay, Fusion has a habit of failing quietly, so there's no alert messages come through to me saying from Fusion that the link is down, but it does just seem to drop audio or not play. So Guy was going to rewrite our end of the link using his own code in the hope that got better. But he's also got quite hectic, as we're noting, with summer holidays and schools doing stuff. My last week was hectic because work gave me this must be done by the end of the month, which was Friday. So I was back from Friedrichshafen and then not doing a lot other than work and minimal RAYNET, so that's why I've got loads to catch up on. So yeah, we'll draw it to his attention and we'll see if we get any further forward on getting it fixed. Okay, thanks Dave, 7-3s. Next to Alan for a final. Mike 0, Juliet Sierra Alpha, G4 and RC, over.
Yeah, M0 Jasso returning. Yes, I had a look at that RAYNET-HF.net from the link in last week's news. And the first observation was if you don't accept the cookies, it redirects you to Duck and Go, which is a bit weird. So I fired up my private browser and accepted the cookies and got onto the site. It's talking about putting ground wires under low dipoles to improve the gain. And that's a schoolboy question, really. Is that just a wire laid on the ground, or does it have to be connected to something? I'll be interested to know the answer to that. So I was using a linked dipole, 6 metres high in the middle, down about just under 3 each end, and that's working reasonably well, but didn't really get the opportunity to test it as much as I would have wished, but I will try and get back to it on another end of his net. But yeah, the ground was answers that would be interesting. Thanks for running the net today, Greg, and best 73, and catch you all later.
This is G4 and RC. Okay, Alan, I'll answer that question, and I've realised I actually skipped over George, so I need to go back to that one. The cookies on RAYNET-HF is a feature of WordPress. You can't say that there's no cookies on WordPress because it insists on using them. Somebody did complain about it. I asked if they could find a better way of a cookie blocker or a cookie alerter and got nothing back. So it is what it is until I can do some more research myself. The wires on the ground underneath a low dipole as a reflector don't need to be connected to anything. It was an experiment done, I think, by G4HPE and the late G80JQ, and I modelled it as on the website to show that there was an improvement as well. So it's a little extra work, but if you do want some to mask poor ground, then laying out a slightly longer wire on the ground underneath your NVIS dipole does lead to more radiation upwards. So it is just a bit more work to do, which is a nuisance, and pegging it down so it doesn't trip anybody up is probably more of a hassle. But it produces a minor effect going forward. Okay, hopefully that answers that one, and yet noted the cookies. I shall try and find a solution. Nobody else is. Back to the station I missed inadvertently. Mike 7, Golf Mike Whiskey. Mike 7, Golf Mike Whiskey. Back with us, George. G4 and RC, over. For an RC, nothing heard. Okay, really must do better at having a second check on this for are people members or not. Okay, thanks Alan. 2 more to go on the net. Les for a final, who won't have the opportunity to put any wires underneath things in the middle of Loughborough, no doubt. Mike 0, Juliet Victor Zulu, G4 and RC, over. I was just trying to clear up the last two stations on the net and then started to hear nothing. So Les, Mike 0, Juliet Victor Zulu. Any final, Les? G4 and RC, over. G4 and RC, nothing heard. Graham, G7NEH from G4 and RC. Any final, Graham, please? G4 and RC, over.
G4 and RC, G7NEH. No, nothing more from me, I don't think, Greg. Total views of the net this afternoon have been 12, with 3 currently viewing. And there we go. I am available next week if nobody else volunteers to do the net. That's not a problem. Just let me know. With that, back to you. Thanks for doing the net today. G4 and RC, G7NEH.
G4 and RC returning to G7NEH in the RAYNET-UK activity period. Okay, 12 total views is good. Thanks for the offer, Graham. Might be taking you up on it. There's only really Guy, I think, that's available next, and if he's got the same end of school term rush as other people have got with his lad going around games, it could be challenging. So we'll get back to you and confirm it. Okay, I'll close the net since we seem to be having some time. And we can always have an informal afterwards. So, to allow the stream to close, I'll thank all stations for taking time out of their schedules to take part in this afternoon's net. Be careful, have a good week, and until next Sunday afternoon at 1600 hours local time, I'll close the RAYNET-UK weekly activity period on talk groups 23531 on Pheonix and Brandmeister, and 50235331 on RAYNET-UK network, and return those networks to an open net rather than a directed net. 730, this is G4 and